Last Words Pod. My name is Earl Lonnie Hooks. A very special thanks to everybody that will be joining us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, as well as YouTube. The God in me honors the God in each and every one of you today. Miss Boyce.
We out here.
JP.
What it do?
Long friend of the podcast. Friend of mine.
Yes.
Listener of the podcast. Kinda slightly avid listener. You've been listening since like the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much since the beginning. I kind of a lot of it came when I had my commute. My shifts changed often and I was listening to it a lot then. And then kind of over the summer as I was getting ready to transition down to Richmond, slow down a little bit, but I catch up when I can.
Is it weird? Is it weird being here right now with the headphones on within the pod?
Yes, I'm within the pod. It's weird. But it's really, really cool because I have been listening since kind of the beginning. So it's like I've seen the growth of the pod, and now that I'm here, I feel like I need like autographs, and I'm like, it's so cool. It's so cool. It's like local celebrity.
Who?
Well, I mean,
I don't feel. Listen, man. I take love, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it from people.
No, it's real cool, though. Feels really cool to be a part of it.
Okay, listen. I think I would like to start off with. I would be remiss to not ask you. How was your Thanksgiving? We should start with that.
It was really good. It was nice and quiet. I've got a small family. I've got my cousin and his mom. His dad passed away a few years ago, but they're in Iowa. So it's really just me, my two brothers, and my parents. But it was really good because last year we couldn't spend it with my parents. Thanksgiving or Christmas, COVID, and then my mom's sick. Right. And so because she had those problems, we couldn't spend it together. So it was really weird because those were the first holidays that we haven't spent together. So it was really nice that we were able to spend it together this year. It was quiet. It was chill.
What do you got? I mean, what do you do?
Nothing.
I know everyone, has their own very special, unique family occasions going on, their own little rituals. Do you play games? You watch movies?
We really do nothing.
Do you eat?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Is there anything unique to your dinner?
I wouldn't say so.
We have a heart attack mac and cheese at the Hooks residence.
And it seems
it's really just cheese with a bit of mac. It's a lot of cheese.
That seems to be the best way to make mac and cheese.
It's like 7 different types of cheeses.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's how it should be. No, we actually don't have mac and cheese. I don't know if that's a cultural thing. Wait,
what you mean?
I feel like a lot of like black families make the mac and cheese.
Oh.
From what I have gathered in talking to people.
Right.
So I
Wait a minute. Have you ever visited someone else's? Have you done like a Friendsgiving or another thing? Were these people white? Were they black?
They were black.
They had the mac and cheese.
They had mac and cheese.
All right, what are cultural things? All right, first of all, I think that we all just got put on. I feel like there was a boom of information this Thanksgiving for some reason, and that everybody just realized that Popeye sells turkeys.
Popeye sells turkeys?
Oh, so you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
So Popeye sells turkeys.
Huh.
I don't know if it's. I don't think they're fried.
Turkey?
Yeah, like real turkeys, and
when?
and people say that it's delicious. A lot of people go and get them. I don't know. Have you been to Popeyes? A lot of other things at Popeyes are good, so it's not like
yes, I've been to Popeyes.
The biscuits are amazing. I mean, the
chicken's good.
Chicken's good.
Fries. Oof.
Oh yeah, the fries are good. Mashed potatoes and gravy. Mm-hmm. Red beans and rice is my favorite side from there. No, not your thing.
I'm not a beans person.
Oh, not a beans. See, I love baked beans.
I want to like beans. I just I don't like the texture. I don't like them.
Okay.
Throw that shit out.
Creamy. Don't like that.
Creamy beans?
Yeah, creamy beans. What do you mean?
What is like? You mean
what type of beans are you talking? Dry beans? Who the fuck is eating just dry beans?
What do you mean? Okay, I guess when you say creamy, I think like, all right, we're like mashing it up, and that shit's gonna become like a creamy sauce.
Nah, there's usually like a sauce that it comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. Mashed beans.
Yeah,
Nah, I'm not doing mashed beans. No.
I mean, I guess I like the flavor. Like, I remember, back when I was younger, like, summer camp meals, you might have had like the hot dog, the beans and Frank. And I like the flavor, but I would like take a bite of the hot dog. You might get some of that cream.
Yes.
Keep those beans out. I would like drain them off.
Use a little colander.
I mean, I would no.
A makeshift colander. No, not even.
I would take just like I would do with like my cereal.
You just get a fork or
because I don't like. I don't like milk.
So you eat the cereal with milk in it, but then once the cereal's out, you just pour the milk out.
Yeah,
you're not sipping. You're not sipping.
I don't. I had a friend who had like one of those bowls that had like a straw attached to it for the cereal. So when you're done, you just drink through the straw off the bowl and you get the milk.
That's weird. I'd much rather just tip over the bowl into my face.
It was kind of cool though, but
I've let the milk cascade down into my mouth.
Okay. I've never been a huge cereal person as it is, but on the rare occasion that I do have it now, I'll probably will like drink the milk, maybe. But like back then, you get some of you take a spoon, you get some of the cereal, and then I like press the spoon up against the side of the bowl and drain some of the milk out. And I mean, especially now,
you just gotta keep refilling the bowl with the cereal till you just finish it all.
No, that just goes down the drain.
Okay, let's get back to Thanksgiving. What are some of the things you guys are eating?
So we do green bean casserole. We'll have,
yeah.
I saw somebody post on Facebook just the other day that like people who eat.
Your mother's white, correct?
Both my parents are white. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I'm adopted.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. New things coming up. Okay.
Right.
Well, not new things, but just refreshed things.
Right.
Refreshed things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why you got the green bean casserole and no mac and cheese. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So is the casserole like?
Usually just casseroles. A lot of people aren't really putting a lot of stuff in bacon. Casseroles. Wait, a casserole really just implies that something is what, just put in one of those deep pans and baked?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, okay.
That sounds right. Because you can have a whole bunch of different.
Okay, green bean casserole, no mac and cheese. Do we do cranberry sauce?
We usually do. We didn't have it this year. As we were setting everything up, my dad's like, shit, I forgot to make the cranberry sauce.
That was the next question. You're making the cranberry sauce.
I think that's what he said. He may have had some like cans of it. I don't know. I am not a huge cranberry sauce person. From what I can remember, I don't know. Anytime I see it, I just pass over it. And it's funny that you said to make.
Yeah, there's a huge difference.
Right.
I can see. So I will respect if a family makes a whole meal, scratch, but they get the cranberry sauce straight out the can.
Yeah, and I just saw somebody post, I don't know what, maybe it was like Twitter or something, and they had two side by sides, and it was one that it was made, and
Ocean spray.
It was just the gelatin of it on the plate, and they were like, if you want to make that, you make that, keep that to yourself, give me the can. Which I find, why? I'm not an
why do people not like the freshly made, like smashed cranberries with like seeds and twigs and because people because people put nuts and seeds and it's like yeah.
Well, that's
maybe we in the Black community, all of us haven't had good house-made cranberry sauce.
If you're finding seeds and twigs and
I think it's like a thing. Yeah, I think.
So you're really not exaggerating.
No, people be
No, I want the can. I have not done a side-by-side taste, but I want the can.
Turkey over ham. What do we think? Ham?
Without a doubt. Honey baked.
Honey baked ham, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Understood.
I don't like turkey.
Do you like pineapple with your ham?
We don't usually do that, but I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Do you do Hawaiian pizzas? Not at Thanksgiving, just in general. Yeah. Are you one of the people you'll eat like a Hawaiian pineapple on pizza? Some people think you're a psychopath, right?
Well, that's perfectly fine.
Okay,
do you eat pineapple on pizza?
I'll mostly eat anything because I'm fucking nasty.
Okay.
Well,
minus the twigs and the seeds.
I grew up in a household where grandma was looking at me like, "Earl, Lonnie, you eat what's on the table. There are people in Africa that are starving." So no matter what it was, so she made a lot of just meaty things, right? She loved rare meat. So that's what it was. It was catfish every Sunday. That's not rare meat, but still, catfish on Sunday, a lot of meatloaf, blah, blah, blah. No, don't eat catfish raw. But, so I got a lot of just regular, I guess you could call it soul food from her. Okay. But then I also had vegans and vegetarians in my family. So I grew up drinking wheatgrass juice and eating celery stalks.
So you're like a garbage disposal. You just really
yes, exactly. Okay. So I just had to eat whatever was given to me. So I'll mostly eat whatever. I'll eat a house-made. If somebody hit me up with a house-made cranberry sauce, if you feel like I don't know what I'm talking about, put me on. I'm always open to things.
I really want to try it. I mean, I say I'm not a cranberry sauce person, but I really couldn't tell you the last time I'd actually tried it. I don't know if it's just because we don't. Well, maybe we do have it. I think I see it more at Christmas than Thanksgiving. I could be wrong. I could just skip over it. But I would like to try both.
So what's on your plate? You're skipping over a lot of it. What's on your plate?
I skipped over cranberry sauce.
And if there happen to be beans there, you're skipping over that.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Turkey is off.
Turkey is not off like the twigs and the seeds in the cranberry sauce. I could have turkey.
Could have.
If
someone put a gun to your head and said, "Eat this turkey," you're definitely gonna
gobble gobble. Like yes.
What's on? What do you? All right, okay. This is what I should have asked you. What is the one thing you have to have on your plate? That's what I should have started with.
So my 3 requests are always green bean casserole, potatoes, whether it's scalloped potatoes or mashed potatoes. You just freaking love potatoes. What does it say?
I just freaking love potatoes. Okay. On the back of the phone. Wow.
The pop socket is, I'm a slut for potatoes in every shape or form. A potato, if you will.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm passionate about potatoes.
And you're also passionate about corny ass jokes.
Puns.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just puns.
Well, okay.
But also jokes as well.
Yeah, maybe. Yes. I like jokes.
Killed one the other day.
A pun?
Okay, listen. I don't normally brag. Maybe I do. But let me tell you. So we got into this conversation at Thanksgiving. And it was about indigenous people, what to say, what to not say. Like, clearly Indian is off the table. Like, that's not what you're supposed to. We learned that a long time ago, but people still use Indian. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know why I don't use Indian, just go look it up. I'm not doing it here. Yeah. Native American was like the next thing down the list. And that's now something that people are rethinking. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, we have native. All right, sure. That makes sense. American. That's where the issue lies. Right. Because now it's, you call them native of this land.
Right.
But to call someone a Native American implies that they are native to America. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't America until some people with buckles on their shoes decided to come over here and start saying whatever the fuck they felt like and manifest destiny, blah, 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 blah.
And here we are.
Me too. Right.
Right.
So native, sure. So just proper would just stay with just native or indigenous, but throwing the American on the native, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, it got into a serious discussion about this. And then in the effort to get out of this conversation, my aunt was like, okay, everybody, joke time. I got a joke. This is Aunt Lana. She's great.
So just like mid-conversation.
Well, it wasn't. It was just like, man, we really need something to get out of this.
So let's do the joke.
So she was like, okay, I got a joke. I don't know where she got this joke or why she thought that this was the one. Maybe it was just off the top of her head. But she said, hey, where do you send a rainbow when it's arrested? You got anything? You got any thoughts? Nothing at all. A prism. See, just the fact that you even laughed just now, and that was a real laugh too.
Yes, no,
But look, so she laughed, and then she said, "Oh, but don't worry, it'll be a light sentence."
aunt?
Yeah.
Yo, I fucks with her.
Aunt Lana, she's awesome. Okay, hold on a second. So then, so we're laughing.
Got a little tear going.
And so you can.
Okay. Yeah.
So I say, does the joke go any further? She said, no, that was it. And I said, no, yes, it does. So now this is me off the top.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So
Straight
we're here, right?
Dome.
Rainbow goes to prison when arrested, but don't worry, it'll be a light
I'm so excited.
sentence.
I feel like a little giddy.
I said, I'm going to let this sit for a second. I said, and since it's being sent far away, you could call it a leper con. Ooh.
Yo, that was good.
Yeah, I was gonna let it sit. Let it sit.
That's a good one.
A leper
tears on both sides.
con.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I'm just saying. That was off the dome.
That was
I just
good.
want my respect.
No, you got it.
Thank you.
You got it. Yeah, I have.
That was a gift. That was a gift from above.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
And I love that it played on to like 3 previous ones.
Right?
I have a list on my phone because I really do love puns. I like, and Stokes and I get into discussions about it all the time because he likes like the really smart, not those ones. I give me those like cheesy, corny ones.
Right.
Those are the best ones. So I have a list on
just
my
dad jokes. Just
yes, love the dad jokes. As you can see, I'm like literally had tears coming out my eyes from those.
You really did.
Yeah. But I have a list on my phone because what?
It's just like you were like really,
I
really into it.
Genuinely thought it was hilarious.
Okay. But the list,
of puns because just going down the list because one of the kids, well, he's not a kid, he's 31, who I work with, he got a calendar for Christmas last year, a pun calendar, so every day it's a different pun. And so when I have sessions with him, we do the puns. So if like that day or the previous days, and so anytime I see that there's one that makes me laugh like that, I add to the list. So I want to add that one.
And is this for when you're maybe like in a down mood, like a blue mood? And you'll go into this thing just to give yourself some laughs? Like, when do you act, like, what state of mind do you have to be in to actually go and refer back to the list?
I've never referred to it just like on my own. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody and puns come up, I'm like, yo, let me pull this out. And I pull out some good puns.
2 things. There's a few different ways I want to go right now. A few different avenues I want to take.
Okay.
Because you just talked about your job, right? And we'll get there.
Okay.
You've also talked about an Anthony Stokes.
Well, we will get there. Yo, shout out to you, Stokes. We will get there.
which clearly who we've had on the podcast and all of his fervor, right?
Yep.
But before we get to those things, I'd like to give a shout out, a very intentional shout out to Tinder.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay, yeah, no real details. That is how we came to be. That is how we met.
It is.
And I need to say this because I have friends, I've known many people that want to say truthful things on their dating profiles, but they feel like either they don't know how to articulate it correctly, or that there really is no way to articulate it correctly, and that if someone reads it, it is, okay, you're just like a horn dog. Like, you're just here for sex.
You're talking about like the bio?
Right. So this in particular, one of the biggest things people ask, what are you here for? Like, that's going to happen almost 98% of the time. What are you here for?
Yep.
Upon the first or second message, I would probably say.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people want to say this, but do not know how. This is the following. I am here for organic exploration. I am here for whatever presents itself in whichever way it needs to present itself for me to deem it worthy of my time. And that means a lot of different things. if you're a very open person, which you would have to be open to say something like that, that means shit. I'm starting a business. If I feel like you're a decent business partner, I might bring you on to something I got going on. I've seen people do some networking on that, right? I could just be here for followers on Instagram.
Right.
I've seen a lot of that.
You've got your list of like you.
Oh yeah, I came up with like 9 of them. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of reasons why people get on there. Again, people, just I want to take you to a wedding. I've seen a lot of that. I'm coming. I need a wedding date. Mm-hmm. Who wants to just go do a wedding together? I want to have sex. Mm-hmm. Or I would be open to having sex if I went out with someone and the vibe was right and it was just cool. I would be open for a friend if that came from it. I'd be open to seeing where a friendship went and maybe possibly down the line being a boyfriend or a girlfriend, whatever the case is. But to marginalize the expectations, I think it diverts people from actually achieving a lot of the time what they would like to achieve in an organic and truly successful way, a fitting way. Because you can just make someone your boyfriend or girlfriend off there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it fits. It doesn't mean that it's a good fit for you. Right. So I think a lot of the time, again, marginalizing your openness to these things will completely derail you from getting what you actually want.
I personally hate that question when someone asks, "What are you what are your intentions here?"
What's your answer?
Well, it depends on the time. Typically, it's open to friends or like I'm looking for something long term. Because I'm never looking for just a hookup. I'm not networking. I don't know what else you had on that list. Friends are long term. That's like pretty much what I'm looking for. But I personally feel like when somebody asks that right off the bat, if we have a conversation for a little while, things seem to be going well, and then you ask, okay, that's okay. But when it's right off the bat, to me, that just screams like you're not looking for anything serious. Which if someone asks you what it is you're looking for, then you assume that person isn't looking for something serious? Yes. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know if it's just, past experiences, but when someone asks me that off the jump, I immediately roll my eyes, and then the conversation is just dull. It's just a lot of people just can't have a decent conversation. And I find that the people who ask that initially fall into that category. So I'll say 2 things about what you just said. One, I'll get into the more Earlified one second. First one is just you and I are now friends, and we've built a pretty cool friendship right from there. And that it didn't necessarily start there. I mean, kinda in a way, like we always clicked, like it was always good energy, what we had going on. But if it was ever marginalized, and I did ask you that question, or either of our answers were very strict, then there's a very good chance that we would not be here recording this podcast right now. And so that's why I'm just saying I find myself remaining open to the possibilities of what my relationship with anyone could be. Because there's so many, like the spectrum of relating to someone is so vast. It's so vast. And so I love to invest in humans, and I never know what form my relationship is going to take with someone. So I just let it breathe, and it will form itself. Yeah. And so I'd much rather just that be the case. So again, shout out to Tinder. That was a long-winded way of saying shout out to Tinder for that and for this. Tinder sponsored this. Tinder is sponsoring this right now. Oh, really?
No.
No, I know.
The second thing I'll say.
This sounds like you're getting ready for the Earl one.
Yes. You know how I feel to some degree. You have to about conversation.
Yeah, I think we all do. To some degree, I think we all do.
So you say that a lot of people are just trash. It's dull. Yes. It's bland. Yes. It's probably a lot of, not literal, but figuratively speaking, copy and paste. Probably. Conversation that people are having.
And it drives me fucking insane.
So I want to change people's perception of conversation.
Okay.
I want to further people's minds on what conversation can be, what it probably ought to be, what it can do for people. I want to open people's eyes when it comes to conversation.
I think that's a great thing.
Speaking of opening eyes together with people, let's talk about the word conversation.
Okay.
A lot of times, I mean, I'm super into just figuring out the definitions of things, and sometimes that leads me back to a lot of root words for things. Now, I decided I was going to pick up Spanish as my second language years ago. So it just so happens that we have con, C-O-N.
Mm-hmm.
You already have co in that, so you already know that it's a collaboration that multiple things are coming together to make this thing happen. So con, that means with in Spanish. Okay. Ver, V-E-R. That means to see in Spanish. So I'm already looking at this word as the act of seeing together. The act of seeing things together. A lot of the time when people are having conversations, they are not seeing things together.
Correct.
They're seeing split screen. I just told you a story before this. Split screen versions of something. When you said
that's immediately where my mind went. It's just dividing. And
that's right. And a lot of people, I talked about this on the last podcast, they don't even have the intention of trying to see things together.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a remarkable thing to communicate with someone on such a level where you guys just get closer and closer and closer to matching or synchronizing your wavelengths on in every way, shape, or form. Every way that you can. I was listening to Elon Musk have a conversation with Joe Rogan, and he was just like, yeah, like 10 years down the line, we'll probably have the option to stop speaking to each other. I was like, whoa, what you talking about?
Right.
He's like, well, once we get this Neuralink in people's skulls, which I've talked about before, at some point, his issue with communication, I guess our issue with communication is that you have to take a complex thought, try to distill it into words. You have to, compress them into words as best you can, which people are terrible at. Mm-hmm. Get it out to the other person. Then now that person has to decompress those words and try to interpret what was going on. You may have heard some of the words the person said. You may have missed some of the words. You may know some of the words. You may not know some of the words that they use. You may feel too proud to not ask them what some of the words that you didn't understand were. There's all sorts of reasons why you won't interpret what's coming out of somebody's mouth correctly. Mm-hmm. All sorts of reasons. So it's like, yeah, there may be a time in the next 10, 15 years where we can just kind of bypass that. And it's more so like thoughts just being transferred in a way. But even that's interesting to me because I'm like, well, how is it? How am I interpreting it? Like right. What is the matter? What's the stuff that I am to interpret it if it's not into symbolism like words?
Yeah, like I'm ignorant with this whole topic. I don't know anything about that. So like so is it like I have a thought, I send my thought to you, and it's now become your thought? Like you just can read my mind? Is that what we're talking about here?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Joe Rogan didn't ask him good enough questions back.
Right.
Because I'm trying.
I got a lot.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out, again, without the symbolism of the words and definitions to match words, and what is it that I am interpreting exactly?
Yeah, because what difference does that make? Because, okay, hypothetically, let's say that's what it is. I have a thought, I'm thinking it's now in your mind. It's still technically my words. So whether I spoke them verbally or you're just like thinking it, how are you still able to articulate what I'm trying to say?
So if you have some ideas right now, this very moment, say you don't really, but see, that's what doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like we kind of need words in order to give our thoughts power. Like, I think we sort of need words in order for, now some people think that words diminish the thought, that having to distill these emotions and these conceptualizations into words actually dampen the real message, and that there are things behind the words, there's meaning behind the words, that if you just understood those, you would know exactly what I'm talking about.
But if there's meaning, it's still words, so you can't just say that and get out your meaning behind those words. I don't know. It's not making sense.
I think that this is, I know, and I don't think that we'll quite understand it until this thing comes into fruition.
Yeah.
Either way, to go back to conversation, me trying to push it forward. I don't think that people truly understand the nature of conversation. I don't think they understand the potential that conversation has. I don't think that they understand the potential, the capacity that it has to change their quality of life through real, engrossing human connection. I don't think that they know about these things. And I don't think that there's enough value placed on it. Not enough to make people go out of their way to try to figure out how to become the best communicators that they could become. So you end up on Tinder saying whatever yo.
Yo. What it do?
What it do?
What it do, baby boo?
What that thing do?
All right.
What it is. It's very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Blaze and Vince about it, and I said, theoretically, you could have a new, how many times am I going to say I don't like to brag, but then.
And then here you are.
Well, the thing is this. A common message sent to me when I was on these dating apps was wonderfully refreshing. That was my most frequent review. Wonderfully.
That's it. The comment wasn't wonderly refreshing. That's
the response that I get when I say what I say to them first. They're like, I've never seen or heard anyone say anything remotely close to what you just said to me.
Okay, got it.
And that is because every single time I saw someone on there, what I said to them, I couldn't say to anyone else. It wouldn't make any sense because what I said to them was catered to them and them alone.
Yeah. And I think multiple times, there were times that we have conversed, since we first met, that I've said is refreshing. Talking to you is refreshing because of things like that. It's just not normal. Yeah. It's your side of analysis, man. I'm telling you, just being here again it's refreshing. I entered the pod of not my side of analysis.
You have entered the pod. This Thanksgiving at my home, well, the day after Thanksgiving, we decided to watch King Richard. You know anything about this movie?
Nope.
Okay. Will Smith.
Okay.
You know that guy?
He's one of my favorites.
He's done a couple things. He's been out. He's new. He's a new actor.
Yeah, I've seen him kind of in the tabloids a little bit. It seems like,
he's always going through some shit.
Stuff going on.
Yeah. Jada Pinkett's always running around putting out all this information on the red table. Every time that red table comes out, or she's on somebody, every time she talks, she's like, "Yo, this motherfucker Will."
I saw something the other day. Someone said something like, "We're one interview away from knowing who killed Pac."
Who killed Pac?
Yeah.
We're one.
Because I think that was the last thing that Jada was bringing up. Something to do with it all the way back.
Hey, that's really funny.
Shout out to Twitter.
The internet is undefeated.
It is. It definitely is. Twitter's a wild
We're
place.
one interview away from knowing. Jada Pinkett, you just keep talking.
Right? Yes, I know Will Smith.
That's really funny. That's really funny. That's creative. So King Richard is the Venus and Serena Williams story.
Oh, okay.
King Richard is their father.
Okay.
Very interesting guy. Super, super interesting guy. I am obsessed with greatness.
Mm-hmm.
I love excellence. I revel in getting to observe people, things in general, which is another reason why you're here. We're going to get into you and your bashfulness about coming on a podcast. We'll get into that. But I'm watching Will Smith play this character, and he killed this role.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Absolutely. I cried easily 3 times. And it wasn't even like super pivotal points. It was just the relationship that this guy had with his daughters. The love he gave them.
Probably cry.
The way he built them up. There was just a point. I mean, one of them, I remember they were driving in this little buggy that he had, this little Volkswagen buggy. Sort of looked like the Scooby-Doo van in a sense, but It was red. And he was telling, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but he was talking to his daughters, and he was saying, this world has never respected Richie Williams, like him. This world's never respected me, but they gonna fucking respect y'all. They gonna respect y'all.
Gives me goosebumps.
Bro, but there were so many moments like that where like both parents, they were just giving so much love and support to these girls. I was like, bro, I am now too, from what I'm saying. That's crazy. I was crying.
It's just my allergies.
It was very touching, but I'm watching this guy and what he saw in his daughters. He was like, I knew I had champions. I couldn't nobody tell me that I knew it the moment I got them out on that court. I've been planning this before they were born. I've been reading books. You just saw this madman, the way that he was striving for greatness in his unborn children, right? Then he got them on the court. He's working them, but he also put, education and love and humility and all that first.
He manifested that before they.
Oh my God. You have to watch this movie.
Yeah, no.
Bring it to your family. You should watch it with your family.
Okay.
Wait, can you not do that?
I mean,
is it just rough trying to get everybody together to do that?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Maybe I could with my parents. Not my brothers.
I'll watch it with you. I'll watch that motherfucker again. Easily. It's such a beautiful, and I didn't know much about the Venus and Serena.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know.
I know they play tennis.
Right. Which is a good start.
Yeah.
It's a great story. I mean, it's the biggest part of it.
Right.
Right? Like they play tennis. But the intricacies, what he did to get them there, how driven they were, what the mom was like, in the extremely unorthodox steps that he took to get them there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like, oh, nah, all y'all doing this? Well, we gonna do this instead. Oh, all the girls are going and playing in this tournament? Well, we gonna go over here and do this. It was and there was a point where he just kept them out of tournaments. He kept them practicing, but he was like, we gonna keep you out because I don't want to burn you out. Mm. We gonna keep you out of tournaments.
That's smart.
We just gonna focus on school. Learn these different languages.
That's definitely a different tactic than it seems to be for most people. And clearly it worked.
Exactly. And that's my whole point. You see Will Smith playing this character, and you see the excellence in him as an actor. Mm-hmm. But then you also see the character, him bringing to life this vivacious, driven, heartfelt guy that loved his children more than anything in the world.
Is he still alive, their father?
I don't know.
Okay. Like, I really haven't. I know they play tennis.
No, I was with you. I'm right there with you. That's all I knew as well.
I wonder if he.
And Serena was with Drake at a point in time. I knew that too.
Yeah.
Right? That's about it. That's about as far as it goes.
I kind of forgot about that until you just said that. But yeah.
So I'm looking at this guy and I'm looking at his vision. he always told him, if you got to plan for it. You plan for things, like you said, you manifest it, but you have to plan for things and you have to stick with the plan. And so let's take everything I just said about King Richard. I'll leave it there so I don't ruin the movie for everyone else.
I definitely want to see it.
But just the idea of this guy's excellence and his vision. I just got put on to this show. Shout out to my girl, Emily. Thank you for putting me on to this. Baking Impossible. You know anything about Baking Impossible? Have you seen? Well, they're on their first season on Netflix. It's impossible
for me, but that's all I could tell you.
Have you tried? Have you tried to bake?
I mean, well, what are we talking baking here? I mean, like
putting something in the oven and pressing the bake and letting it go. That isn't a frozen pizza.
Okay, when you say baking, are we talking like desserts or just like baking something in the oven?
Oh yeah, because you probably knocked that green bean casserole out the park.
I can do the casserole. I'm really
real quick. What's the recipe? Go ahead. Or do you not want to give it? Is it like a family secret?
No, it's not.
Do you have family secret recipes? Because that's interesting. You don't have to give them.
We do.
You don't got to give them. I just wanted to ask. Oh damn! You think I was gonna fucking betray my family?
No,
and giving out that sauce.
My dad is
no pun intended.
My dad is really the one in the kitchen. Like if you know me, I don't cook. I'm not one in the kitchen. I like to clean.
Okay.
Like I will go to Shelby's. Shout out to Shelby.
Shout out to Shelby.
And
I hope you still don't hate me. Water under the bridge, man. Come on. Years ago. It ought to be.
I'm just kidding. She's better than that. But like her husband cooks. He will chef it the fuck up. Shelby's kind of like me. She's, maybe a level 2 or 3 ahead of me. But
is the cleaning thing cathartic for you? You feel like it's your Zen moment? Like, what is it about? Do you think when you do it? Or I know you used to listen to podcasts while you would clean. I think you told me that before.
I do. Yep, I do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't cook, so I clean. But like, I was bringing her up because, like, I'd go over there for dinner. And all right, you guys cook, and I'll do clean. I'll clean. I'll do all the dishes and whatnot.
Well, you have to.
That is true. Okay,
by the way, if people,
true.
because
you cook, you clean.
Yeah, I was about to say because we can't. I have gotten better at understanding common sense ain't so common.
Yeah.
So we can't just gloss over certain important things that are just trivial to us. Just make sense completely to us. Hey, people listening, if you go to someone's home and they cook for you, you at least should offer.
And then when they say no, you offer again.
To clean.
And then maybe go grab a dish and just like start doing it.
And if they come slap it out your hand, then okay.
Like, all right, cool, you got it, Slim. But
Slim.
But no.
You are a thug. There's a bit of thug in you.
Hey man, I'm from you. Listen,
I know. I know you run the streets. I know.
I'm from my side of Manassas. Streets with a K.
Yes.
Yeah. We're not gonna throw a Z on the end, but
I was about to say it's definitely a Z. Okay. So you don't bake for shit or cook for shit.
Not really.
You make a good salad. I make great salads.
I have never really tried to make a good salad. Salad, throw some lettuce on that. But there's some stuff that I can do.
What does your diet consist of? Just real quick. I know where we're at. I got the tab open. What's your diet? Where we eating? Just in Chick-fil-A? What we doing?
Sure.
I do Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
People don't even know. Hey, another pro tip for people, because every time I say this, people don't even be knowing. Strawberries, cookies, and cream mixture.
You can do that?
Exactly.
You can do that?
You're welcome. You're welcome. Everybody, go enjoy.
Yo, okay, I'm out.
Go enjoy. Yeah, that's all you got to do is just tell them to mix a couple flavors. Yeah, they'll do it.
The newest thing.
They may even ask you how many pumps of each you want.
Okay, Starbucks. What?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure.
I really didn't know you could do that.
You're welcome.
I don't have milkshakes. I'm not too much of a sweets person. I don't have milkshakes too often.
Ain't no sweets on the plate. Ain't no cranberry sauce. Ain't no turkey. Ain't no beans.
I've never been a huge sweets person.
It's for the best.
I guess back to your question about like what my diet is. No, it's not. I mean, is it for the best? Because my diet's not any better. I might not have sweets, but like my diet's not any better.
No, hold on. We'll let us in a little bit. Since you're not going to give us the great prophesized secret family recipes, you could at least just give me a couple of things.
I don't know, man. Like, what is there to offer? If it's there, I'm eating it.
Okay, so you're a girl is supposed to like me.
Yes.
We both do this.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Fucking right.
Yes. You just might have more healthier stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In your routine.
Yeah, no, that is that is for sure. I got some green juice in there right now. Some green shards, celery, cucumber, kale juice right now.
It kind of sounds like you would like the seeds and the twigs from.
To be honest with you, I think I might, and I should. And yo, somebody bring me some because I'll eat it. I think I will.
Okay.
I think I will. I think I shat on it undeservedly so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Baking Impossible. They're on their very first season. Another gem for you guys. I'm dropping gems for people today. I'm giving people are going to come away from this episode with like, hey, I got some things to do now. First season. Baconeer. Have you ever heard the term?
No.
Baking engineering.
Okay. I kind of could put that together.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't the gem that you...
No.
Okay.
So... I have ranted and raved about the show Chopped on here before. And the mastery of looking in a basket, looking at these items and being, oh my God, like, how did they come up with this thing, this creation?
It's an art.
Fuck that show.
Oh.
Not really.
But I have heard how much, like I've heard on multiple episodes you talking about Chopped. So the fact that you're coming in here, I think the one I was just listening to.
Yeah, I did.
So the fact that you are, okay, I'm really, okay, let's hear it.
There are like 9 teams and they take these top bakers and top engineers and they just throw them on a team together. They've never met before. And they start giving them these missions. And they have to build these very large cakes that also do things because there's mechanics and wiring involved in it. And there's these things called stress tests that they have to, I don't know, accomplish. Mm-hmm. So the very first one is they have to build a boat. A cake boat that with, and they have to have sails because with fan power, it has to be able to float in this like 20 feet lagoon that they have created. And it has to float across this thing. And it has like a rotor in it so they can steer the cake as it goes across this river, this lagoon.
I'll tell you what, it couldn't fucking be me.
99% edible at that, the cake.
It's not, no.
It's absolutely insane, but it's so beautiful because you get to see these bakers again, and this is where communication comes in because you have these bakers that have to, on the fly, tell and teach these engineers what they're doing, what their side is going to be, and how they can help them. And the engineer also has to do the same. Mm-hmm. And so you're just seeing these great minds come together and make beauty. It's such a marvelous...
It was called Baconeer?
No, it's called Baking Impossible.
Oh, Baking Impossible, got it.
They have a Baconeer, I think you're like the first one, like the person that sort of coined the phrase as a judge. Then they have an engineer as a judge, and then like a top pastry chef. Mm-hmm. And so you get graded on everything, how it tastes, how it looks, how the engineering of it was put together. It's everything. It's such a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
It's excellence. It's vision. And you get to see it come to life. And a lot of the times, why I'm so engrossed in, so if these headphones aren't necessarily the most comfortable through time, that's all right. You just got to adjust them.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
But I love to see this greatness because I feel a connection to it. I see that these people have this passion and they have this vision for something that outside lay people they wouldn't know where to start. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't even know to think that that's a thing. Yeah. That I could even do that. And so I love people innovating and bringing something that you think you have a firm grasp on, or at least an idea of how far it could go or what people do with it, and then pushing the envelope and being like, nope, here's the next step of this field. I believe this is going to be one of the most braggadocious or dangerously confident things I've said on this podcast. I want to take conversation to that level.
Now I see how we're wrapping back around. Okay.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, yep. You're good at that.
I want people to understand that there are levels of conversation that they are not even close to tapping into, so that more people can aspire to have more engrossing, enthralling, substantial, connected conversation with other human beings that bring life to their quality of experience.
That sounds like a really difficult task, honestly.
Absolutely. But guess what? It didn't stop any of these other people. And that's the thing with greatness. It's either you're one of these people where it's either, because in my mind, we're doing it or we're not. Blaze said that on the last episode. She never knew any different. Mm-hmm. That intensity it's I don't know if it's wrought from just genetics, or I'm certain there's a balance between nurture and nature.
Right. But when you're nurtured with that from the get-go, that's
it's
life.
Different.
Yeah.
So that's all you know is I'm doing this thing. Yeah, I know that it sounds very difficult. Let's do it. Yeah, because what else do I do?
Well, like you said that,
nothing meaningful has ever been easy.
Right. And you are comparing it to these bakers, these engineers who want to strive to get to that level. I'm thinking about people who I know that could really use some tips and tricks of good conversation. And I don't think they care enough to improve their conversation skills. So that's what's going to make it difficult, because what's wrong with the way I talk? What do you mean? Our conversation's just fine. Why? Like, I don't need to improve anything. Right. I think that's going to be the hard part. Finding people who are motivated enough for that.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't know, again, but that was my whole point. A lot of people don't even know that the level of conversation that they're having is basic. Mm-hmm. People don't know that there are levels above that. They're thinking, well, I have conversation every day. I have conversation with people every day. Like, I'm having conversation. What do you mean? I said this to this person. They said this to me back. And then we went and did our thing. We had a conversation. Like, what are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. And guess what? Well, you and I can come in here and bake some shit right now. But it ain't nowhere near the level of baking that baking has gotten to. So that's the point. I don't think that there are enough people out here that are true, avid conversationalists that are pushing things forward. There are tons of podcasters. There are tons of interviewers. There are tons of news anchors. But I don't, with my vision and understanding of conversation, see people pushing it where I know it can go. Like King Richard knew his daughters could go.
Yeah, and I think that's because a lot of people who are...
I'm really calling him King Richard. Like, it's just the name of the movie. It's just... Really calling this nigga King Richard. Yeah, yeah, I need to relax. It's just...
So I think that was
Richard Williams. Richard Williams.
I almost forgot that like Williams was her last name. Yes. I was thinking it was like King Richard.
No. Yeah. Good movie title.
But I think that that's because a lot of people who are at that higher level of conversation are really only having conversation with people who match their level. I mean, maybe not, only, but, I think that the people who... Okay. Like you and people like you who would be great people to push that kind of conversation on people who are not so great at conversation aren't really, they're just not going to have conversations with people necessarily, or maybe think or care to push it.
Outside of conversation, really, and I guess maybe I should broaden my ambitions which is funny to say. I should broaden my ambitions because I'm talking about a baking show. And I'm talking about Will Smith in this new movie and how that correlates to what I'm doing. So really, I think what I'm saying is I want to be as great as possible for what it does and how it fulfills me. But also because anybody looking at excellence will be fueled by that in whatever vocation they choose. Whatever it is, you should be able to look at someone great. It don't matter what it is. If they just the best joke teller, the best corny pun poser of all time.
I love it.
I was listening to Dave Chappelle. Now it is his last. I did watch the last stand-up, which I did think there was a lot of mastery in that, and I know a lot of people are upset about that, but we'll move on. Mm-hmm. But he did also just induct Jay-Z into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and him showing love for Jay-Z and talking about what Jay-Z means to the culture, what he means to him as a friend, giving that sort of love, and talking about the level of excellence that Jay-Z has reached. Not just financially, but just the mastery of what he does with lyrics and just music in general. And clearly, Dave Chappelle is that for comedy. Seeing excellence for me in any form fuels me in what I do. Think about it this way. I couldn't even have said the things that I've been saying for the past however fucking long I've been talking if I wasn't watching these different forms.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have these things to even pull from.
Right.
So all these things fuel you. It'll fuel me. So I think that I should widen my ambitions, and maybe that's more so the goal. But if people want to get into more conversation and realize, oh, I thought I was having conversation before. I never thought about conversación. I never thought about the act of seeing things together and what that meant. In how to get closer to a real mutual understanding and synchronization with other person. Like I never thought about it that way. So of course I couldn't have gone after it. It wasn't even an idea. I'd never even conceptualized it. So that's a lot of what I want to do. Now you said people are only having high level conversationalists only having conversations.
May not be true because I don't know many people who. I mean, it's hard because there's your level of conversation, and then there's like the average person. I'll say. So I can't speak on everybody who might be at your level or higher or just below whatever. So I don't know who they're talking to. They for sure could be talking to people who are below. I'm going to say below average because I feel like that's what a lot of people tend to be these days.
Wait, well, if most people are below average, then that just means that the average bar has been lowered altogether.
That's a fair point. Yeah. I don't know. They very well.
Which I do believe. I do believe that average conversation is more trash than it was maybe 15, 20 years ago when people just had to have more conversation.
Right.
People were
before technology.
People were just putting more, social, situations where you had to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. But I don't know. I mean, they very well may not be, but I think if you take somebody who's at a higher level, whatever it is, could be, you could take someone like Elon Musk. He's not going to sit here and have a conversation with me. He's way above status. So I think that they kind of just group themselves together. So I don't know. I could be completely wrong.
You think it would be like deadening to him?
A little bit. It's like a bore. Like why? Why am I having this subpar conversation with you?
So first, all right. So here's the thing. And this gets interesting because you just pulled out an extremely cognitively powered person.
Right.
Clearly. He's not a great conversationalist. He's just super smart. Those are two different things.
That's true.
That's very true. He's just super, super smart. He's a great engineer, great businessman.
Okay, well then switch the example to somebody who's just a really great engineer. Is he really going to talk to somebody who's, just out here building tree houses?
And first of all, we ain't about to shit on tree houses. I never had one growing up. But if I did, man, I never even got to see anyone where you got to live to have a treehouse. You got to have your own sort of. Well, go ahead. What are you going to say? Oh, did you have a treehouse?
We did.
Do you now?
I actually, when I said treehouse, but I actually meant birdhouse.
Oh. I was about to say, because treehouse is kind of, that's intricate.
I completely meant birdhouse. We did have a treehouse. We don't anymore.
Oh, okay.
Our neighbor built it for us. When
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was really cool.
I've never had a relationship with a neighbor as strong as that for them motherfuckers to come over and build a treehouse in my yard. The closest thing I had to that was I used to go and cut Anthony Stokes' yard.
Because y'all were neighbors.
Because we were neighbors. That was the only thing my dad used to be like, cut their yard too. Don't just stop right there. Cut their yard too. Because we were townhouses. Like, don't just stop in the middle of it. Cut their yard too.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, I was obviously a kid. I don't really remember, but I just do know that the son of our the neighbor, he built it for us. It was really cool. It was you had a little ladder go up, and then it had like kind of like very small balcony, and then you went inside. It was like this room, and they had painted
a small balcony.
Okay, I say balcony, but it wasn't.
It was just sort of like a step, sort of. I get it. Yeah.
And then you'd walk in and be the inside. And I remember they had painted like some like Sesame Street characters on it.
Damn.
And then there was like you could either take like the ladder down, or you could take like the pole.
Damn.
Yep.
That's fire.
Yeah.
What'd you used to do up there?
We would just hang out. I put up like mesh to cover like the window parts of it because I don't do bugs and
you have mosquito nets and stuff.
Yeah, don't do bugs. I don't know. We would just hang out up there. I don't know that we were up there as much as some people would in a treehouse. I don't know, but it was cool. It was a cool thing to have. Mm-hmm. We just took it down. I don't know, probably within the last 10 years, maybe.
Treehouse. See, these are some of the pros or perks of growing up with white people in your family. No, but anyway.
It was a whole white neighborhood.
See?
It's definitely a whole white neighborhood.
That's not funny, Earl. Yeah, honestly, and if you're black and you listen to this, reach out to me if you grew up with a treehouse, because I'd love to know
or if you
what your life was like. That was great. Yeah, because I never knew that. These are one of these things. A lot of times when I tell people about my upbringing, they say, "Oh, I thought that only happened on movies. Like I only saw certain things that you did on movies." That's one of these things for me.
That's so funny.
I never knew anyone to have a treehouse.
I think I know one other person who lived in our neighborhood. It's my dad's old business partner. And I believe they might still have it up, but I believe that they had or have one as well. But yeah, now that you mention it, can't say that I ever sold treehouse.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's a wonderful privilege to have. I'm glad that you grew up with that. Yeah. Okay, now back to Elon Musk and super intelligent people and just passionate people and whatever the case may be, highly revered conversationalists. You spoke about it on here a little bit, and then also weeks prior to this, you talked about you coming on the podcast. When I asked you, I reached out, I said, JP, bring your ass to this pod. We got a pod. Right, it's not at all what I said. It's not at all what I said. I said, but it was probably something more along the lines of, well, JP, I'd be really, really I'd just be really happy if you would come and just have
in this moment, I'd be very happy, but in 5 minutes when the conversation's done, I'd not think about it.
Anywho. By the way, this level of presence that you make fun of me about for not being excited, it does create this lane. The only reason that I'm even able to do what I do here, the way that I do it, at the level that I do it at, is because of this thing.
I mean, I'm not knocking it at all.
You're just understanding.
I think, yeah, because it's just one of those things that, because I am not like that, it's hard for me.
By the way, we had a conversation off air. She's talking about the fact that I don't get excited for things in the future or look forward to things often or at all.
Right, which it was the one with
that was with Blaze and Vince.
Right, yeah. So if you guys listen to that one, that's what we're talking about. And it's not that I'm not knocking it at all. I think it sounds like an incredible kind of characteristic. I don't think that it's any less to be able to divide, think about something else. But it's just one of those things that because I'm not like that, I'm like, oh, wow, people think like that, or don't think like that.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's flabbergasting.
So you responded with and this may be this is paraphrasing, but it's something like, "Oh, little old me." I think you may have actually said that.
That definitely sounds like something that I would say, and I'm pretty sure that I said that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you want little old me on here?
Yeah, if you called me when you were pulling up today and you answered with howdy,
which I did.
You definitely said little old me. You definitely said little old me. Now let's get into this, because in my mind, if you are, and I think when Anthony Stokes, you and I went out to dinner a few weeks ago, I spoke about this a little bit. In my mind, again, where I see conversation going, how I see myself contributing to the evolution of conversation, I think that if you are an apt, competent conversationalist, you should be able to speak to more than just other apt, competent conversationalists. Because a huge part, the biggest part, is listening. Mm-hmm. I listen to everything. I observe everything. So there's a million different ways the conversation can go at any sort of moment. I like to keep common threads and allow it to veer off a bit, because that's fun to do. But
so when the person comes with that one script, you can switch it up on them.
Oh, I'll fuck them up. It's like, yeah, we're not, yeah, there's no script. We're not doing any script. No, rigidity has never been a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. I've never been I've never been too comfortable in a box.
Right.
Never in my life since I was born. I needed to break out of the box. Mm-hmm. I had to go travel and look at other things and maybe grab some stuff from my adventures and then come put them in the box. Mm-hmm. Right? So you say little old me, mm-hmm, as if you are something less than anyone I've had on this pod. Now, if what I'm saying is incorrect or it's not necessarily a good...
Like you're saying this and I'm like, I'm still sitting here like, why am I here? Because you go ahead and say your side and I'll...
okay, so what I was going to say was, if what I'm saying is not fully representative of how you feel, then please correct me, but tell me, why did you say that, and why do you still feel that way? Even in this moment with this beautiful, you're in the pod with me.
I'm in the pod. I'm still like, it's just crazy. These headphones.
So you hear and you feel mm-hmm. what's been happening, mm-hmm. right? So tell me, even in this moment, why you feel like this.
I don't know. I guess it's because I've listened to some of the other guests that you've had on, and I know that we've had this kind of conversation before with like people thinking that they're not interesting. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where my mind goes, because you have somebody who I don't remember her name, but and I don't want to butcher the Puerto Rican Botanicals,
yes. Von Marie.
Yes. Which I actually just listened to hers the other day, and I went to her page and bought some of her stuff. So I'm super excited she listened to this. I'm super excited.
I love the pod bringing people together.
like through the pod, I was like, I got to go look at her stuff. And,
nice.
Try it. So I'm super excited for that to come in. But, you've got that. You have Richie, who's out here with Virgin Vegan. You've got someone who's not so interesting that's out here just making comics. He's whatever. But...
Oh yeah, that's right. There's been so much love and warmth in this conversation. I forgot that at some point we gotta get to you and Anthony.
I don't talk about this nigga Stokes. He's gonna be like, "Yo, why the fuck did you go on there then?"
Oh man, okay.
But you have all these people here who have these just awesome like passions and these businesses and just so creative minds.
And
you got little me.
You're ridiculous. Okay. But you've also heard me talk about the layers to people, mm-hmm. and how I look at people. Yeah. And that still to you is just like, yeah, whatever, nigga. Like, that's how you feel like about what I'm saying about the way I see people.
People are.
So you think? Okay, let's go about it from a different. I'm gonna take a different angle.
Okay.
So you know me.
Mm-hmm.
You've been, not only have we hung out plenty of times, had mad awesome conversation. Mm-hmm. Not only have you also listened to the pod mad times, mm-hmm. to mad cool conversation. So do you think that I just be spending time like habitually with just people that like Anthony Stokes put at dinner the other day are just like talking to a wall? Like, you think that?
No, of course not. Because that's on my side of an asset.
So what is it? What do you think it says that I enjoy your company, or do you just think that I'll just hang out like I'm cool hanging with anyone?
Not at all. Because I don't think that I'm bad at conversation. I think that I could definitely improve just as anybody could. Yeah. But I think that I'm able to have.
I'm trying to improve every day.
Everyone should, yeah. Especially with conversation. So no, I'm not like knocking that part of me. I don't know. Like, I don't have, these cool, like, organic products to talk about, or
these cool organic products.
Like, vegan food, or that I'm out here making films, so I don't know. I guess a pod doesn't have to be that, just good conversation.
So that has been my entire thing, is a great conversationalist should be reading all the necessary points to ask the proper questions, mm-hmm. and also just be able to riff, mm-hmm. off of whatever it is you're saying, have the proper declarative statements off of what you say that allow your brain to work and move on, mm-hmm. and generate some momentum, sure. Which we've been doing this entire time. I mean, we started with twigs and cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look where we at. This is a possibility. This is a real possibility. Is dude here?
Yeah, what's
up? Shit. With the headphones on, I mean, motherfucker. Sometimes he's a ninja. Sometimes.
Yeah, if I didn't see
like
him
Batman
when I didn't be able to, yeah, no.
So, and when you listen back to this, you'll have your critiques, because everyone does, about themselves. Listen, when was the last time you heard your voice back to yourself? Like, you listen
actually, not too long ago, I had to do an interview with a social worker. So I recorded it. So I listened to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. Okay,
that's all right. We're gonna.
But before that, I don't even fucking know.
Okay, so that's what, in my mind, a top tier conversationalist ought to be doing, mm-hmm. is all boats rise on the same tide. A lot of times when they talk about these excellent athletes, like say like LeBron or Steph Curry or Kobe, they say, you're really great. You become you get into that next tier, like that top tier greatness, when you make everyone around you rise to the occasion. When it's not just you out there dunking and scoring buckets and crossing people up, like that's awesome. That's great. But when you get your team to rise and elevate their game and their understanding of what they can do, that's when you've really reached that next tier. Mm-hmm. So again, since my ambition has now been broadened in various ways, but clearly directly to push the envelope of conversation, that has to subsume that characteristic. I have to have everyone rise with me. It wouldn't be anything if I'm just over here telling a bunch of jokes and dancing around and tap dancing and saying a bunch of big ass words, but the conversation lacks.
Right.
It's a dry conversation. I'm just over here trying to.
Yeah, I mean, let alone general, but for a pod that also didn't be.
It would be. You don't want to fucking listen to.
Hell no.
These motherfuckers is anywhere from an hour 45 to 3 hours. Like, they be long. These are length. These are girthy episodes. They thick.
Yep, they thick with two C's.
I come out with some thick pods. But people listen. Mm-hmm. And it's not just because of me.
Right.
It's because the other people are having the interesting points and views from within extracted.
Yeah.
Now I play a big role in that.
Right.
But that's not to say that it's not there.
Yeah.
It is there. And you have it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean,
you were funny for bringing them shades in here. You real funny for that.
The bit was kind of room. I was hoping, just come to the door, turn around, got my shades on.
Yeah, you real funny for that. You real funny for that. Thank you.
I had that one planned.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. No.
For everybody that knows the glasses, the shade that I have. She just walked in here with some shades.
Yep.
Yeah.
He liked
very
it.
funny. No, I did. That was very funny.
No, I mean just people wearing sunglasses on the.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, not
at all.
Yeah,
not at all. Don't do that. Or I guess do that, but no, just don't do that.
All right, let's talk about don't do that. Let's talk about shade. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Anthony Stokes.
I like that intro. Yeah,
Anthony Stokes is a great friend of yours.
Listen.
Okay, we're not going to start with that. Let me just I'm going to swing the microphone away. Go ahead. Take a sip of this.
Wow, I can really see that. Hear the difference.
Right?
Yeah. I'm still
By the way, I'm drinking a little pineapple juice, pomegranate juice mixture, pomegranate juice, pineapple juice, sparkling water, lemon, lime, orange. Those aren't juices. Those are just the actual fruits in there. And I am
drinking hydrogen and oxygen agua. Is
nice. Nice.
Well, yours was so nice. You had so many different.
How many hydrogen molecules over there?
I believe we got 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
And just one of the oxygen does the trick.
Yeah,
2 of the hydrogen.
I might switch it up later, but right now,
just stick with
I didn't bring
simple.
my kit to
It's simple.
Yeah.
It's simple. Yeah. You're not bougie. You don't need much.
You're not bougie.
Yeah.
Nah.
You're kind of fancy. The hair. It's kind of flowing.
That's it. That's all we got, though.
It's kind of flowing.
That's all we got. I got the curls.
All right, listen. Let me stop fucking around. Go ahead. Do your thing. Say your piece because things were said about you, and you would like to come and clear the air.
Right. There are a few things I'd like to touch base on.
Let's touch base.
So, for those of you who listen to
episode 83 in Oscar.
Yes, exactly. I am the JP that was spoken about a couple times throughout, mostly good things, and shout out to everybody who threw in those good words. And then, luckily for me, I did not catch hypothermia with the shade, with how cold it got for some of the comments that my boy Stokes.
Your boy.
My boy. Which may have been a little bit confusing had you heard the episode with some of the shade being thrown. But all out of love. He is 100%, he's one of my best friends. He is a good person, an amazing friend. He's incredibly talented and creative. If you have not listened to the episode, once again titled In Oscar 83, go and listen to it. He talks about his comic, which is incredible. He's got his second issue coming out, I believe, sometime in March.
Decay.
For reference. No, I've read a lot of his scripts, and that truly is one of my favorite stories of his, is that series. But the shade, my nigga, the shade. It was a lot of miscommunication.
Okay.
Is what it was, because 2 things that got brought up was you not reading the comic because I didn't give it to you.
Yes.
I did.
And I said that on the podcast. I said that on the episode. I said I didn't read it. Well, I said no. He said he was like, "What did you think of Decay?" And I said, "Oh, I don't have it."
And then you did.
And then he said, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, well, listen. She sent it, but then I didn't open it in time. And by the time I tried to open up the PDF, it had timed out. Like it would not longer let me view it.
You could have let me know that, and then I would have sent in a fresh one.
Now that you said that point, let me interject before you continue. I've cleared this up with both of you. You hit me, said, "Hey, this what my nigga got going on." And you sent me the Kickstarter campaign. So I checked that out. I even sent it to a couple of my friends. Said, "Hey, yo, did y'all know this was going on? Look at this. Check it out." And then after that, you sent me the PDF, and it was like, and here's a little sneak peek, or here's like a little, I think you said sneak peek, or a little something like that, a little preview, something like that. Either way, the way you said it, I interpreted it as, I'm not necessarily supposed to have this thing, right? It seemed like here's this off to the side. Mm-hmm. The Kickstarter, that's for everybody, but here's this for you. So, I also don't know that for months and months and months.
Yeah, we're going to touch base on that one.
He's been talking to you about coming on the podcast.
We're going to talk about that one.
So I had no idea. So in my mind, he's not trying to come on the podcast. Mm-hmm. At this point in time, I have no idea about his desire to be here. So I'm not thinking that. But when you send me the Kickstarter, immediately, because I went there, I looked at it, I remember like who he was at that point in time, finally. Mm-hmm. And I loved what he was doing, local business, and it was a friend of yours. I'm like, I'm going to ask this gentleman to be on the podcast. Now, with that information, with the fact that I felt like I wasn't supposed to have the PDF file you sent me, I thought, I can't open this file and read this comic because that would be disingenuous. How am I going to have him come on the podcast and act like I didn't read? Okay. Like act like I didn't, because I'm also not going to sell you out and be like, JP sent me this thing. Right. Now, again, clearly, all of this is misunderstood because he sent it to you to send to me. Yes. Yeah. Right. But I'm thinking like, I'm not going to sell her out and tell her that she did it, because then he might be like, yo, why'd you send it to him? Like he could have purchased it. Like I didn't know exactly how that was. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which, now it all makes sense. Right. Future reference, I would never send something, someone's creation without, if I didn't have permission to do it. I actually, he would post a lot of previews of scenes throughout the story. And in my mind, I'm like, why are you doing that? Save some of it for when it comes out. Right. But no, he was sending that link to everybody. Okay. If I had known, if I'd been privy to a little bit more of this information, a lot of this wouldn't have happened. Actually, none of this would have happened. Yes. So I do take the sliver or slice, however it can be a slice. It's a little, it's a bit more than a sliver of accountability for not. This is where because when people apologize for things, a lot of times people just be apologizing. I think just to maybe get some type of guilt off, even though I don't know how that works if you're just apologizing and it's not for something specific. But to appease the person, right? I want to apologize for something intentionally. So what I'm apologizing for is for even thinking that you would send somebody's work off if it wasn't bestowed upon you to do such. Well, so that's what I apologize for. I should have known that was put there because you wouldn't do that otherwise. So that's what I apologize for. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Yes. A lot of misunderstandings. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And so, so the other little Stokely, that I would like to bring up is how long it took for me to say something. To you about having him on here. Yeah. Cause yes, he has been in my ear about it pretty much since I told him that you were making a pod. Which is a long time. It is a long time. It's a long time to have that little bug in your ear. That was back when I put out the Earl selling windshields cartoon on YouTube. Yes. Yeah. Long time ago. Yes. Yes. Because I saw before he was put out, you showed me the little just sketch of it. So it's been a long time. Yeah, we're talking about quarantine. Yes. Yeah. It's been a very long time. So that little gnat just never goes away. Yeah, literally. Yes. Little gnat at a barbecue. Yes. And so, you guys had kind of talked about it on the pod, and you had mentioned, you can understand me not necessarily bringing it up because of credibility. That had nothing to do with it. I had no doubt in my mind that Stokes could come on here and be an awesome guest for your podcast. Stokes is, I think he's great at conversation. He can read the room well. He can talk to any person. That wasn't at all. To me, the only way that I can describe, when he would say, I said that I just feel uncomfortable asking. Because the only way that I can describe it is that me asking felt like me inviting myself into someone's home or inviting myself over for dinner. It's not my business, it's not my thing.
yeah, okay, they started having guests on. Who's like, oh, well, now, yeah, that's the perfect time to ask them. Go, they're having guests on. Like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't really know, like, his, their...
How it works.
Yeah, like, do they know the people who they're... I mean, obviously they know the people, but, like, I don't know. I don't know what the...
Shit, at this point in time, I'm meeting all sorts of people.
Yeah, you just met one time. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But, I don't fucking know that until, until I know that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know.
I love that. I don't fucking know that until I know that. Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I felt weird. It felt like I was inviting myself over to your house.
Yeah.
For dinner.
Okay.
And
that's completely understandable.
And it's like, even though you guys were neighbors, and he would bring up, you're fucking neighbors. Okay, well then fucking ask him yourself, Stokes.
Yeah.
Like, love you, buddy, but like, do it yourself.
That is, it's misleading. It's not false. It's misleading. Mm-hmm. Yes, we live next door to one another. And I think this was one of the first things I brought up on that episode. He wasn't outside with the rest of us. He was in the house.
Only for the ice cream truck. Right.
Mm-hmm. Only for the bubblegum cigarettes and whatever else we was getting over there at the time. Now, so the whole we were neighbors thing doesn't necessarily hold.
It shouldn't be brought up at all, honestly.
The weight.
Just because you guys were neighbors at one point in time, if you're going to use that as an excuse, then you should be comfortable enough to approach you himself.
Right, exactly. If the neighbors, exactly.
I may have had a more recent in the present friendship with you, but don't be using the neighbors as an excuse, because then you should be doing it yourself.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you hear that, Stokes? Shout out to you, Stokely. I was right.
That was well thought out and even better said.
I've been thinking about this for a while. I have been waiting for my time to come say my piece. But no, him and I talked about it. The three of us talked about when we went out to dinner. It's all love. It's a lot of misunderstandings. He was feeling really fucking spicy that day. That mimosa that you gave him got to him. And he had no problem making a little bit chilly on my side.
Mimosa got to him. Mimosa fucked him up, huh?
He did say
Mimosa got him loose.
The little pomegranate mimosa, he was feeling a little extra spicy, and he should know spicy's my thing. He can't get spicy. Spicy's my thing.
I mean, I did fill up like a whole wine glass. Pretty. They were substantial mimosa pours.
I could maybe I just know him enough, enough that funny. Throughout his episode, I'm like,
you started.
This nigga's sipping. He's sipping.
It was between that and the sugar-free Red Bulls. He was sort
of. He needs to be sponsored for that.
Yeah. He was throwing wild.
I actually listened to his episode earlier today. Just to refresh. Yes, exactly.
Just to refresh the shade.
Yes, exactly. No, but it's all love.
That's fantastic.
Fuck that nigga for that shit.
You know what? I'm glad you said. Oh my God, JP. I love, fuck that nigga, but I love him.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think that people understand that enough. I don't think that, because what does fuck you mean, right? We should get to a better place as people. Mm-hmm. A place where you can say, now, clearly with the right connotation, we all have to understand, we have to come to a consensus of what fuck you is going to mean.
Right.
But it ought to mean, well, like when I say it, it's more so, I'm frustrated with you.
Yeah.
Right? And what you did, what I feel like you did through careful consideration was undeniably a transgression on your part that needs to be addressed and you need to take accountability for, right? But I love you. I think maybe a lot of the times fuck you means I want you to burn. I don't want you to...
I think it can though.
Right.
It really just depends on the situation.
I don't want you to eat.
The context that it's used.
Yeah.
Well, is...
No, yeah, saying I don't want good...
That's quite the fuck you.
Yeah, I don't want good things to happen to you.
Right. Like
whatever
if
you got
were
going
caught
on.
fire and I have a glass of water, I'm drinking it.
That's what, just sipping it. That's wild. I was more so thinking that I was being hyperbolic when I said burn. But I was more so thinking if whatever you have going on for you, I hope it doesn't go quite as well as you hoped.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's taking things way too far to not want good things for people.
Yeah.
Because I think that I talk so much about empathy and compassion and understanding on here because
it's important.
What I've thought a lot about this, and tell me if I'm wrong. I think that what is best for someone is what's best for everyone. What's truly best for them is what is, again, all boats rise on the same tide. I think that it would help everyone for the best thing to happen for that person. That doesn't necessarily mean everybody just gets $1 million in their bank account right now. That's not what I mean. I mean what's truly best for them.
Yeah, that's funny. That kind of goes into,
it could be a humbling experience.
I read an article earlier that had to do with self-care, and it was, which maybe the way I'm interpreting this, it kind of plays off what you're saying. Okay. May not at all.
Go for it. We'll make it connection. Okay. Go for it.
But it was talking about self-care, talking about self-care and what that means. And then it was somebody who said, I wish I could remember the quote exactly, but basically it's like self-care versus like collective care. So, what is, what isn't good for the swarm isn't good for the bee.
Okay.
And so it was about that, how, we shouldn't be focusing on self-care, but instead of like caring for us as a whole.
Okay.
Which in parts of the article, I don't necessarily agree with.
Where'd you read it?
Well, it was actually something that we had to read for school, but it was on The Guardian.
Oh, okay.
Was an article in there. I was reading it while I was getting my hair done today.
Fancy. Read The Guardian while I get my hair done.
Well, I didn't have my headphones, so I couldn't listen to, a pod or anything.
Right.
So, but anyway, one of the things that I mentioned was, self-caring as like a whole, collective-wise, would be like, being a good neighbor. Okay, that's true. But
building a treehouse for your neighbor.
Building a treehouse for
cutting your neighbor's yard.
Exactly. Giving them my water if I had it.
If they were burning.
Yes. Depends
fantastic
on
neighbor.
It depends on if it's a fuck you or fuck that nigga, but I love you, got some water.
For sure. For sure.
But I don't know. It's the person who was writing it was talking about how she thinks that the generation has been built too much on individual self-care, and she hopes that within the next generation, it is a collective self-care. But I feel as though, you have to find a happy balance, because I can't help you with your self-care if I can't figure out how to care for myself.
Yeah.
And, they like describe it as self-indulgence, but instead it's self-preservation. I can't help preserve you and make you a better person and support you if I'm not caring for myself. And some of the other examples that they had is,
hello to all the passengers on the plane. If for any reason there is turbulence, the oxygen mask will fall from the cabin, and you should definitely 100% of the time, 10 times out of 10, put the oxygen mask on first before reaching over and helping anyone else.
And thank you for flying Any Last Words Airline.
Very nice.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that they said was, like if you get a text from a friend who needs support, self-care would be just not responding to texts. Okay, well, I don't know about that.
Why?
Right. You don't have to not respond. But for me, some of the self-care that I have, that was a really terrible.
Yeah, they got to do better with that.
I see where they were going with it. But no.
You got to do better than that.
Okay, here is how I would have twisted that up.
Okay.
So one of the big self-care things that I've worked on this year, my quote unquote New Year's resolution, was not being the yes man. I tend to want to say yes people, if it helps them out. Even if I know it's gonna make me feel miserable, I don't really want to do this thing, but okay, I'm gonna say yes. It's not the end of the world. It's not gonna last for the rest of my life. I'm just gonna do it and get it over and done with. So I was really working on just not saying yes to absolutely everything. For an example, I had a friend who, she was having family come into town. She could not drive, legally.
All right.
Right, because I want to make that clear, because it's not like, she couldn't drive because her car was in the shop, or, she had a broken foot or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not physically able to, she just legally couldn't drive.
Right.
And so...
Due to decisions of her own.
Yeah, I guess,
Which placed her in a position of, we're going to take this privilege away from you.
Yes. Well, no, we just never had the privilege to begin with.
Oh, okay, understood.
Yeah. We just never did it.
Okay.
Never success. And so she asked me, she's like, oh, like, what are you doing tomorrow morning? Would you, like, be able to, like, go pick up this family member from the airport? I don't want to do that.
Right.
I just don't want to. I don't want, I had my Saturday planned for whether or not I had errands or I was doing shit, or I just was excited to have a morning where I could sleep in and not do anything. That's what I'm doing. That's what I planned. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or another example of going to pick up some other family members from, like, I don't know, somewhere out in, like, Culpeper or something.
But what's funny is, so okay, so this is your manipulation, or your I guess more evolved interpretation of what the person said in the article of don't answer, don't reply. A lot of the times, these more self-serving options that we have aren't necessarily self-care. I understand you're doing what you wanted to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're caring for yourself. Caring for yourself a lot of the time could be, now that it takes a lot of deliberation, and, we could break a lot of these things down. It's not this all the time. It's circumstantial, but a lot of times doing what's good for you is what the more altruistic or caring thing is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes getting up out of bed, even knowing that you wanted to just sleep in, and going and helping someone out will help you. It will maybe fulfill you in a way you didn't quite know, and maybe something will come out of it that you weren't necessarily expecting. And so that is your self-care while caring for others. It gets interesting.
It very well could be. Where I was at with it was more self-preservation for myself not to do it, because because this person could not drive, I'm doing the driving all the time. I don't want to do it anymore. If I want a day where I don't want to do it, go out of my way to, like, ask your fiance.
Some fucking oh shit.
Just ask somebody else. Just ask,
Yeah, hold up. Yeah, well, that needed to be said.
Right.
Yeah, nah, that needed to be said. What that nigga doing? Yeah.
And he was kind of, I don't really know. From what I got, it was kind of like the same kind of thing. Like, he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
No big difference. I'm not her fiance.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yes, and it's not to say that I don't want to help my friends. I'm all for supporting and helping my friends. But at some point, I have to preserve myself, because if I keep doing shit like that, then I'm going to explode, and I'm going to be, spicy towards you.
Yeah,
I don't mean to.
Right.
But I'm not going to.
I don't ever think anyone gets this perfect. I don't care how long you live. Mm-hmm. I don't care how many life cycles you go through. If you believe in reincarnation, whatever, I don't think that anyone ever just gets it like that. That balance, it'll never quite be there.
Right.
There are going to be times where you're going to question yourself, but I mean, the point is really just to even be aware of these things and even have these conversations, so that when you're making these decisions, you weigh the pros and cons. You think about the self-care versus the communal care, collective care. Yeah, it's just, you do the best you can, but you try to think it through.
Yeah.
Just try to think it through and have some sort of logic to what it is that's going on, and not just being like, nah, fuck it. Like, no, fuck them. I'm not doing it. Period.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is like, okay, you should probably put a little bit more thought into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. Now, care, self-care, collective care, understanding, empathy, communication. Let's get into what you do, JP.
Oh, like for my job?
Yeah.
So I do.
This is a perfect segue from self-care and collective care.
It is. So I do behavioral therapy for kids with autism. I say kids. Our particular center tends to be majority of kids. Our youngest is
that center based again here in?
We do have one here in Manassas. It's just right after 66, right by Nova.
Okay.
But they're all over. I mean, all over the U.S.
Right.
All over here. My particular office is just in Manassas.
You said behavioral therapy.
So ABA.
Okay.
And I was saying like most of ours are kids, but my oldest two one will be 21 in just a couple weeks, and the other one's 31. Mm-hmm. But a majority are younger.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Okay, that is what you do. Now talk to me about the balance of self-care and collective care here, because you are obligated to care for the collective here.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do? A lot of people talk about this when it comes to therapists. Where the fuck did the therapist go? Well, the therapists go to other good therapists, right? And so on and so forth. What do you do to, I don't know, I guess, manage your emotions, your thoughts, your states of mind that allow you to do what it is you do for these people? Do you put much thought into that? Or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this might be one that, like when we spoke about, was it me being good with kids? We had to break that layer down because I haven't really, I guess, thought about this.
That was a beautiful one. Just real quick to get through it so everyone understands. We're at Uncle Julio's, enjoying some good foods.
That's salmon.
I think I had the camarones diablos. Yeah.
Well, that is salmon, then yes, you did. No, we both got the salmon.
Oh, we both got the salmon? Oh, okay. So, I guess I usually get that. Okay. Yes, well, I usually get that. Okay.
I think it was your first time
the Chipotle salmon. Yeah, I think I wanted to get away from something. Let's try something new. Chipotle salmon. Yeah, that was fire. So good. Didn't it come with like a mango sort of? It
was like a mango salsa. Yep.
Ooh. So good. Hey, yo, that's the way to get me. If I go somewhere and they got a mango salsa, there's a good chance I'm gonna fuck with it. Well, because putting together mango with like onion and cilantro and maybe like a lemon zest or something, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like those in their fresh ingredients. Oh, we got it. That's crazy. That's a crazy combination. Like I can taste it right now. It's tantalizing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. But other way, I asked you, why are you good with kids? Or maybe I broadened it and I said something like, why do you think, what makes someone good with kids? And you're like, I don't know. I guess it's just something you either got or you don't. And that could very well be true. But, clearly I was trying to get something to something a little bit more specific.
A little bit more response.
Which is a
good thing. It's a good thing. We need these layers to be peeled.
So what we ended up getting down to after me, badgering you was that you find yourself in a position with the sort of freedom to allow yourself to fall into a child's world, because you just have to. You have to. You just have
when
to.
When a child hands you a phone, you answer it.
You answer it.
I don't care if it's a cucumber. You fucking answer
it. Right. Especially if it's a cucumber. I mean, it's just made for that. Like, that's what it is. Yeah, that's the phone. So, okay. You understand that everyone doesn't have this ability to just get into character, to just let go, right? Of whatever shackles
One of my best
they
friends
have.
is a perfect example of that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she just, it's hard. Well, yeah.
What is it? A lack of like imagination, or?
Well, she's just not like a kid person. I mean, wants to have kids. It's hard because she didn't grow up around a lot of kids, besides like her age. So now she's gotten older. There weren't like babies in the family or in the neighborhood or something. So she just never, I don't know, was exposed to that. So I guess never had that kind of click until. No, it's not. I haven't really clicked yet.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I was fucking around I was fucking around with people that had a bunch of kids. I for myself, I know I can get into this bag you're talking about, but again, I'm thinking about imagination. I'm thinking of creativity. I'm thinking about letting go. I've talked about drugs way too many times on this. Way too many times.
You don't need drugs to help you let go of kids.
Right, because that's exactly how this was about to come off. But there have been one too many things. And it actually, no, because I think this is a bit more of the predisposition I had. Because before the drugs came, I allowed myself to let go of things pretty easily. Mm-hmm. I read on here one time, I think it was the originality essay that I'd written and talked about here on the pod. But I talked about this article that was written about my grandfather. And at some point, they talked about him being able to cross this border between sanity and insanity. there was a lot of things that just like really, it sounded like they were just talking about me. And someone was like, yeah, like that, all of this stuff sounds like you. And when I think about crossing a border of sanity and insanity, what comes to my mind is that there is no, this is going to sound insane, that there is no difference. To me, everything comes from the same stuff, if you will, the same matter. Let me be more concise. When you're watching a film, Anthony will love this. When you're watching a film, depending upon the angle that the camera's at, the music playing, the lighting, you can make it a horror, an action, a drama, a comedy with the same lines spoken. It just, the musical score, the angles, the lighting can change the entire vibe of the scene. Mm-hmm. And now creatives understand this. So what I'm saying is people that have highly creative minds, I don't think we, if I can say that, feel as though you're crossing a border between, you know, insanity and sanity, and then coming back when it's time to just speak to regular people, and then going insane when it's time to create your work. I just see it as more room to move. Mm-hmm. I just see it as more room to work with.
Makes sense.
But it all comes from the same stuff. It's just how you go into it. So again, all this was, you know, before the drugs, but I do think the drugs did exacerbate it for sure. Yeah. I am okay with just letting go and falling into something. Actors have to do that. Mm-hmm. If you're going to get in a character, you have to let go of who you are in real life. Yeah. You have to become something new. And so there is a certain, you know, level of comfort that really that comes into this. You don't feel ridiculous with these kids as you're doing this, do you?
No, I mean, and there's one thing, like we talked about in one meeting, is that one of my old coworkers, you know, we'd see her and she's like on all fours, and the kids like pretending like she's a horse and the care and everything. And
of
it's
course.
Like, you a horse, of course.
You got it.
You have
No, right.
I thought that's where you were going initially.
No, you got it.
Isn't that like what was his name? Mr. Ed. I think that was a Mr. Ed.
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
I could be wrong, but there's like a horse, of course, a horse, something like that.
You would know that.
Yes, I would, being in the horse world. Yes. But yeah, I mean, you kind of just have to. I mean, they're kids. They're like, they don't fucking care that you look ridiculous or that you think you might look ridiculous, that someone else might think that you look ridiculous. They don't fucking care. They're just here to have fun. This is them. They're just the little humans. This is how they view the world. So you have to get on their level.
Do you think that doing that has helped you be in your body a bit more? Like it's helped you be okay. Like just, I would assume that just acting ridiculous a lot of the time and just allowing yourself to just fly freely might help you.
Yes and no, but I also I wasn't necessarily reserved to begin with. I've always kind of been like the outgoing friend.
Okay.
But yeah, a little bit.
So have you seen any change in yourself working in this field of work throughout the years? Like, has anything about you altered with like the knowledge you've picked up or the experiences that you've had? I mean, knowledge-wise, yes, because I went into this not knowing anything. I mean, it wasn't like, so I got the job. So I worked, we'll backtrack a little bit. I worked at my first job for 12 and a half years. It was a dog kennel and daycare. And then in 2018, I had just reached my burnout point. I was done. So I quit. And then that summer I quit in like May. That summer for a few months, I worked part-time at a winery. And then I also worked with a girl who had cerebral palsy. And that was kind of my first. We went to that winery, right?
That was one that I worked at. Yeah. I worked at that one and one of the sister wineries.
Quarry Pond. That was beautiful.
But that was the one that I did mostly work at. Yeah. And so when I worked with a girl with cerebral palsy, that was my first time working with, well, I guess really technically people, because I worked with the dogs for 12 and a half years, and then I worked at the winery a little bit.
Yeah.
But hands-on, like somebody who needs like that special care. That was my first time. And then that fall, I went to Cali and took a semester out there. And then when I came back, I needed a job. And And I was just on Indeed and just came across this job that surprisingly didn't require any kind of like degree or anything.
Right.
You really just needed to graduate from high school and be able to drive.
Oh, man. Wild criteria.
Yes. I mean, obviously you need like background checks and stuff, but like you didn't need anything.
Graduate from high school, know how to drive, haven't killed anyone.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Qualified.
Which I don't know about other companies. I know that mine is pretty extensive in their training. Mm-hmm. Maybe that has to do with it.
Oh, that's good.
But I have no idea.
Because training sucks most places. Yes, in most fields.
Yeah.
Training is just sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I hated the training. Training did suck.
Oh,
and
really?
I also hate being the trainer. I've been like,
dang. Yeah.
I don't like training people.
You just like, okay.
I don't like training people. But I mean, well, I mean,
you just like dogs and kids. Like you don't really.
Yes. Well, and it's hard because I would train people when I worked at the kennel, and it's. I think for me, it's like I just want you to know what. Yeah, I just want you to know what you're supposed to do. Just come here.
I just want you to know.
Well,
just know what's wrong with you. I gotta train you.
Okay, then I'll train you, and it's. I think some of it was some frustration would come from it was obviously a lot of cleaning. So we're like sweeping and like mopping. What do you mean you don't know how to sweep? Pick up the broom and sweep. What do you mean?
Yo, I've definitely, when I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings, I'll never forget. But see, these are the types of things that we can't just gloss over. These are when I was
the common sense.
Yes, so or the things that you feel like people just kind of knew or their parents made them do growing up, and they didn't.
And we would talk about that, and we think that that's just part because some of the people who would work there were a little bit younger. So maybe just the newer generations just didn't. The parents just didn't make them.
What was she do? Oh yeah. I think there was like a huge spill when I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. Like there was like soda or water or something like that everywhere. And we told this new hostess that she had to clean it up. Everyone else was busy. And I think she went and got like a, what's it called? Like a squeegee? Is that what it's called? That just moves. That just moves. Yeah, and there wasn't like a drain around, so she was just pushing water around.
Do you think that you're just gonna spread it so thin that it's just gonna look like it's not a puddle anymore?
I was like, go get a mop. And then she went and got the mop, and the mopping technique was absolutely, I don't know what I think she was just just dabbing it or something like that.
Adios, mijo, my guy.
It was bad. What? I was like, so you just kind of assume these things, but people didn't grow up doing all these things.
Yeah, and I mean, backtracking, like me cleaning, I think maybe that's one reason why I enjoy cleaning so much, is because we would go out of town or something, and my parents would give me 10 cents for cleaning, something, and I was always kind of cleaning. And
me too. So it's Saturday mornings before.
Yeah.
I tried to just watch WB and all the morning cartoons and be like, no, come on, no, come on, you gotta walk me up, wash these dishes, go sweep, mop, do this laundry. It's like the whole house, top to bottom.
So I don't know if it's a new generation millennial kind of thing. People just but
we're them. We're already doing that. I don't know if it's these young whippersnappers.
Yes, because they come out the womb with a fucking iPad.
Look who we are. Look who we've become.
I live by an elementary school, and I remember one time seeing these kids walk, and they had phones in hand. Maybe security reasons, maybe they had their walk or something. That's what most parents will say. But I also have friends who have siblings who are younger and have iPads or iPhones.
Yeah, for sure.
My nigga, for what? You're
I gotta get this Instagram popping somehow.
Bro, you got me fucked up.
You know what I'm saying?
When I have kids, no. And
until what age?
I say that now, but then I also hear that it's once you have kids, it's so much easier to throw an iPad.
Oh, well, I'm not doing it for the easier thing. If I'm going to be a parent, I'm going to be an active, intentional parent. Now, when they just around a bunch of other kids and they a weirdo because they don't got what all the other kids got, that's what you may have to deal with.
Yeah.
Is I get picked on every day, Mom, because everyone knows all this stuff that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And this is where the world's kind of going, and everyone is just so advanced. Everyone knows how to work all these things, and I don't know.
Which
what the fuck they're talking about.
There's pros and cons to both, because technology is obviously improving, and I if I put myself in my hypothetical kid's shoes at that time, yeah, I'd want something. But like, I am so grateful that I was raised in a time where we were outside playing, in the court. Be like,
Mom, everyone in school has the Neuralink chip implanted in their skull. Right. I want it in my skull.
When I was your age, we had your little flip. Yeah,
we just read books.
I don't know.
Threw sticks at each other.
Yeah.
That's real shit.
I mean, I love that we were outside playing and, doing all this kind of stuff. And I didn't have an iPad in my hands.
Yeah.
You asked what age. I don't know. I didn't get my first phone. I think I had like my dad's hand-me-down phone, 8th grade. Pretty much had hand-me-down phones throughout high school. And it wasn't until maybe sophomore, junior year that I got like my first Droid. So I finally had like a smartphone.
I had that Boost Mobile chirp. Where you at? Yeah.
But I don't even really remember doing much like as far as like social media with the smartphone.
No.
Whether we just weren't at that point at the time, or my dad let me have a smartphone but paid for like the minimum, so maybe I couldn't have. Well, I guess with smartphones you just have to have the internet, right?
Well, hey, listen, again, for a long time I had that chirp and I had minutes.
Yeah.
I was buying minutes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
10 cents a text. Crazy. Crazy.
I don't think that I got my first iPhone until I think at graduation I still had the Droid. I seem to remember having it at Beach Week. So I think it was like 2012, 2013 maybe that I got like the first iPhone. So I had a phone since 8th grade, I guess, but it wasn't like the smartphone. So
hold on. Because you touched on something, and I got to get back to this because this whole thing was, you said maybe this is going to be, one of those times when we have to delve deeper into this conversation and figure out exactly peel these layers and figure out exactly what's going on. You have made fun of me for not looking forward to things. Okay, last time I'm going to make that joke. But you do look forward to things. You do try to plan things out, think about things, and maybe even engagements, interactions.
Excitement is a feeling that I do feel.
And do you feel these things when you're about to meet with a client? Or you know that you're going to see one of these kids a day from now, 2 days from now? Do you think about what it is you're going to do when you see them? Or what the next activity is? So
you
just show up and be like, "What up?" Like, I'm trying to figure out exactly how this works for you.
So like with a job, you kind of have the same clients. They switch up the teams every so often. Like maybe like during the school year, we'll have the same teams. It might switch a little bit, and then over the summer we might have different teams because schedule changes. And with this kind of job, it's good for kids to generalize across people because they're not only and so. In February, I'll have been there for 3 years. So I haven't been there like too long, but I have kind of like lost a little bit of the passion for it. Working with kids is something that I want to do in the long run, but working with special needs kids is not something that I necessarily want to do.
Okay.
So when I first started working there, yes, I was very excited. Sometimes with certain kids and more than others, whatever.
Does this drain you? Is that what's? Do you feel you're reaching another burnout point?
Not like I was with the kennel. I mean, 12 and a half years is a long time to be in the same place.
It is.
So I'm not quite there. I just don't have the passion for it as much. I think a lot of it has to do with, the coworkers who are there. I love the coworkers who were there when I first started. Now it's a little bit different. And it's hard because I'm also in Richmond now. So the clients who I'm working with, I'm doing it via telehealth, so Zoom. So I'm not at the office nearly as much. I mean, I was there this past week, but that was my first time since August. So I don't have that like family feel with the coworkers that they might feel with everybody. So I remember I went to a staff meeting one time. I was in town and I walked in and I felt like I was a new person, whereas I was like the OG to all these people.
Right.
So that kind of plays into it. Granted, you're obviously not there for your coworkers. You're there for one specific reason. Mm-hmm. But I just, it definitely can be exhausting. I think that I did start off really intensely with it. I remember like my first day working, I worked 9 to 8 on Saturday. Yeah. One of the kids in the middle of the day had me questioning my life. He's one of the harder clients.
Okay.
And he definitely had me questioning my life. And so I guess, working that intensely, it is, it can be physically exhausting, but it can also be so emotionally and mentally exhausting.
Yeah, I was about to say, so you were figuring out when you say questioning your life, you were pondering on whether you really had what it took to live this lifestyle. And
pretty much. Yeah. Another example, I had this one kid, and he actually, when you asked if I'm excited to see these kids, when I went to do a fill-ins this past week, there were two kids who I really wanted to see while I was here. I really wanted to work with them. They're my boys, love them. One of them, it took a little minute to get there. We were having a session. He was having a little bit of a moment. Lucky for him, it was the eraser end of a pencil, but homeboy stabbed me in the face.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the eraser end, but it was like right here on the side of my cheek, too close to my eye. Something like that. It's got me questioning my life, his life, because
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get you something else.
If that were with the lead end, bruh. I've been like, boy, you were lucky I'm on the clock because I'm about to
questioning my life. It was like, let's get you into another field. So what do you? Because you said you want to. You want to work with children in the long run.
Yes.
What do you want to do?
So I'm at VCU right now for social work.
Yes.
And I want to do child welfare.
Yes.
That's the main thing that I want to do. The really great thing with social work is that you can dabble in, because social work is huge. There's so many different fountains with that you can go into. But you can dabble into all of it. And so child welfare is the main thing I want to do. I want to work on a micro practice level, doing like direct case management with kids who are in like troubling situations, whether it's like poverty, abuse, neglect from caregivers, whatever that is.
And you feel like you have a better chance over there. Like people ain't going to test you as much, or I guess you'd have to see.
Yeah, I'd have to see. And I think with that, it's going to be more testing emotionally. Right. Hearing these stories, it's gonna be really hard.
You take on a lot when you hear things from people, like trying times from people and things like that.
So like we've in one of my classes, she's had a lot of speakers come in and talk, and like hearing some of their stories. Some of them have been in their particular field for a few years, and they're already like ready to switch because they're reaching that burnout emotionally.
Wow. Yeah, I guess it takes a lot. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot because some of the stories you must hear. I mean, even just, Keon's got this new job, and
I have heard some of his wild stories.
And I know he just left the probationary period like a few weeks ago. He was on, so he's probably been there for maybe like 5 months at this point. And the stories,
it's crazy.
And there are some stories that we haven't even shared on here that are 5 times crazier than the stories that he shared on here. So sometimes it don't take too long to get a lot out of something. So I could only imagine being in the social working field for 2 years, 3 years, to be a real vet. You must have some of the saddest stories.
I mean, I a few years ago shadowed just for the day, just for fun, a social worker. She actually worked at the adoption agency that I was adopted from. My mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom was on like the board for a little bit, and so she was able to get me like a shadowed. And I don't remember the exact details of the story, but it has to do with this guy who I believe he adopted 2 brothers that I think were like found like near or like in a dumpster, and it's just shit like that. And it's like, hold on.
Give me a second. So they were found as babies. They were found as
and I really don't remember the details, but they were children.
But they were kids, clearly
they were young.
Small enough to.
They should not have been in.
No, they shouldn't be in the dumpster.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't remember the details, but that is one that has really stuck with me. And it's just things like that. I mean,
okay.
It's like, and you see, I'm a big fan of SVU, Law and Order, and you see a lot of these episodes.
So is Keon.
Is he?
Huge.
It's a great show.
Huge.
I support Keon. Go for it. But you see, like, I remember this one episode, and it actually had Whoopi Goldberg. She was a guest star on it. And it was this girl. She did end up passing, but they found her in like a dog crate. And, you know, the mom left for, I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know. She left because, you know, she was out looking for drugs or some shit. I don't know. Locked her up in the dog crate. And, the whole episode was about, it ended up coming back on the social workers because their particular case manager wasn't doing their like routinely checkups. So had he been there, then, you know, he would have seen that this girl was, you know, malnourished and in a fucking dog crate. And it comes back on how just heavy caseloaded social workers are, and just, you know, they expect so much from them, and it's just there's so
deep.
It does. And you know, I'm still very obviously new to all of the social work field and everything. I just started classes.
You are going to be tested.
I am. And when I originally went into it, I want to work on a micro level. But hearing all this stuff, I want to expand more to a macro level, because a lot of it comes down to like the government systems and just the behind the scenes kind of stuff that that social workers don't get enough support for, which could really help, you know, the cases. And I don't know, there's so much that goes into it.
Do you know or think, or have you given any thought to maybe some of this passion or feeling of purpose for you being birthed from the fact that you were adopted?
I have given some thought, but I don't know that necessarily plays too much into it.
Okay.
I think like so I want to start with child welfare. I'd love to do foster care at some point. I think that might have a little bit to do with it. I don't remember foster care. I was only in it for like 4 months as an infant, so I really don't remember it at all. That particular field of it might play into it a little bit. But it could. I don't think so. My kind of light bulb moment with deciding that I want to do social work, I graduated high school and went to Nova, the community college, for like the first year, and didn't do well for different reasons. The main reason being that I just didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. Yeah. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't motivated to do the work. Yeah. Me and some friends, we would literally show up to class, we'd be at class in time, and then like leave together. I don't want to be there. I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to do it. Yeah. And so I was having a conversation a few years later with one of my old coworkers, and he was talking to me about how his now wife worked. I believe she was a teacher in like kind of like a low income area. So you have like higher crime rates, the poverty, things like that. And so you're going to have a little bit more of like your troubled youth. And him telling me that was like my light bulb moment. Like, that's not necessarily that particular job, what I want to do, but I want to do something that helps kids. So I don't think it really necessarily plays into the adoption part of it. Maybe that's because I am really close with my birth mom, and so I don't have that perspective on it. I don't know. I just really fucking love kids.
Did you ever have the conversation of what fostered the desire for them to adopt a child?
Well, my mom just couldn't have kids. Okay. We've got 2 brothers. We're all adopted. They just couldn't have kids. Mm-hmm. So they were lucky enough to end up with us.
I'm glad you said something braggadocious. Thank you for balancing the scales just a little bit.
I know they're all thinking about, wow, Earl is really bragging about
you. I'm just saying, you've been very humble this whole time. I'm just waiting. Just give me like a little something, just something.
No, I tell them all the time, you're lucky enough to end up.
I have a very important question to ask you. You might know what it is.
Okay, I think I do. Go for it. Which is perfect, because this is exactly what my answer is going to be. But go for it.
JP. Mm-hmm. What is at the forefront of your mind these days?
To make a difference.
Yeah, you are so ready.
Yeah, I was, because I knew this was coming.
Can't fucking wait till he asks me this question. So I'm like, kill it.
I had 2 responses to that one. We can dig into my real one, My other one is...
Wait, so was that not the real?
No, that was the real one.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to put a tab on that one.
Yeah, yes.
Just real quick, because I do have another one.
Go do it.
It's really been bothering me. What is sour cream called when it goes bad?
Wow.
But think about it for a second. What?
Spoiled sour cream. Expired sour cream.
No, that sounds so boring.
Or trash.
Trash.
You pick any of those things. That's funny. What do you call?
I mean, you see, yeah.
Very philosophical of you. I mean, honestly, everyone listening to this is going to be spending. They're like, this is the real content. This is what we've been waiting on.
Exactly.
Earl's talking about excellence and vision and
fuck that. I want to know what sour cream is called when it goes
it goes sour.
Yeah.
When it really goes sour.
Exactly.
And are you looking for that? Do you? If you really, really like sour cream, are you looking for the extra kick? Maybe some people just really, really like sour cream. And they're like, to be honest with you, it ain't even really good until it's about a month old. That's when it's really hitting.
I try really hard not to judge people, but I would judge somebody who's eating. Does it mold? Moldy sour cream?
Does it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not holding on to sour cream long enough.
But if I open that container and it looks funky and you're eating it for that extra kick, listen, we are garbage disposal. That needs to actually go down the garbage disposal. Don't actually eat that. That's gross. Don't do that. That's funky.
That's crazy. Yeah, funky.
That's funky. That's real funky.
Okay, now this real answer.
The real answer.
To make a difference.
To make a difference. And it's with social work. I originally, when I had that light bulb moment, it's just that I want to make a difference in somebody's life, whether it's one person or a whole community. And that is what brought me to wanting to do social work.
But so something has to go into this self-care in order for you to do this collective care to make this difference. So on a day-to-day basis, maybe it's a week-to-week basis, I don't know how often you do think about it, as excited you are about things. That's the last joke I'll make about it.
It's fine now, but it's cool.
What I feel like, okay, that is the social work. But do you feel as though there are specific things that you need to be taking into account when it comes to yourself in order to make you the best social worker you can be?
Yes.
All we need is one.
So I think like one of the big things is going to be like not taking my work home with me. I think mentally preparing. Like one of the guests who my professor brought in has her phone. She's got a work phone. She leaves her work phone at work when she comes home, and help to disconnect from bringing her work life home. And I think it maybe it gets easier the longer you've done it. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah. But I think for like the first chunk of my career, it's going to be really hard not being so emotionally attached to these kids. Or if I end up working with adults at some point, it's going to be really hard not to be able to if there's something that I can't help them with because of, binds with like resources or the government or whatever the reason could be. It's going to be really hard for me not to do whatever possible, go out of my way, whether it's like I'm giving them my own money, just to bring that emotional attachment. I think it's going to be really
Do you go to therapy?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I thought about it. Just
that may be something you end up thinking about more.
And that's definitely something that I would want to do when it comes time. Okay. I know that it's not that I'm against therapy. I think that everybody can benefit from therapy. I guess I just haven't really had something that's where I'm like, oh, I need to go to therapy right now. Yeah. So I just haven't.
Haven't quite yet hit rock bottom. That's great.
Well, I don't even know.
That was a joke. I'm not saying that you gotta get. Yeah, I know it was a bad one.
So you don't have to hit rock bottom.
No. But you are saying that something drastic enough, something does have to call for you to go there. Yeah. Like, you're not just going to go there now,
right?
When you feel like you're managing things well.
No, the thought of therapy crossed my mind more when we found out that my mom was sick and she has cancer. But I'm just not there yet.
Okay.
But definitely, as a social worker, I think that is something that I should definitely keep hold of.
And is there anything else at all that you would like to ask me, say to me, anything like that? Answer can easily be no. Please don't be pressured, because you do also still have your last words for the people. So if you just want to
how did I forget about that part? I don't know.
You texted me and said, are we still giving the people their last words today? Are we still giving the last words?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, you forget about that part.
Well, I would like to know what's on the forefront of your mind. I know that you've probably answered this a few times in previous episodes.
No, not really. People don't be asking me shit.
I feel like I just listened to one.
Of me and the forefront of my mind?
Yeah.
Someone asking me that?
Maybe it was a call.
Someone did.
I don't know. But I would like to know what is on yours.
It is being, I tell you, this is my superpower, because I feel like everything else spirals outward from it. It is just remaining, sustaining presence, trying my best to be as mindful and as present and as intentional in every step of every moment, because everything worth anything to me is birthed from that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes me what I am.
Makes you.
It is. That's what allows me, again, to do what I do here with you or with anyone in any moment. That's what allows me to make the connections that I make with people as strong as I like them to believe, as strong as I would like to believe that they are. Mm-hmm. Is remaining as present, as mindful as possible. I told you, I think before we started recording on the microphones, you were saying, we were having the discussion of thinking about, you should be, or that you and pretty much everyone can be excited for things in the moment and be, here to some degree, mm-hmm. or I guess to a large enough degree that fulfills you, right? But you can also, in the back of your mind, be thinking about how loved ones are doing, or the thing that you're going to do after this and stuff like that. And how I've conditioned myself to not do that. Mm-hmm. And how I said that right now, as crazy as this may, because this sounded wild to you, so right. I'm certain it'll sound wild to the people, because I don't think I've said it this way on here before. But right now, I believe this to my core. What matters most to me is the fact that I'm here in front of you sharing this moment, because this is all and it's hard to even say have. It's hard for me to even take possession of things, but this is all I have. This is all there is. Everything that happened in the past is done with. I can't do anything with that in this moment, mm-hmm. right? Clearly, through conversation and recollection, that I guess that is the gift of remembrance, is being able to learn from those things and bring them into the present moment. But those moments are gone, though. They're done with. And the moments that are to be had in the future are in the future. I don't have them. I could easily die tonight. That is a reality. That can happen. A lot of people are like, oh, don't speak that into existence. It's listen, a fact. That is a fact. Yeah. It can happen to any of us.
That does not happen.
It can happen to any of us at any moment. And like I said to you before this, that's what Vince was talking about mm-hmm. on here when he had his stroke. Right. You just never know. This man is built like a gorilla. Right? He would have never thought that would have been him. You never know when things go left. Mm-hmm. that's something I really understand. I try to. This is who I have. I have you right now, right here in these microphones. So this is what matters to me. So that's what's at the forefront of my mind.
All right. I like it. I do have one more question.
Okay.
And I don't know if you and Keon have talked about this. So maybe you can, if you have, maybe you can answer for him as well. But like, where do you guys see this pod going in, I don't know, I don't want to say 10 years, but like 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
This is, we have not, we have in certain ways. This is in no way, along with the mindfulness, the intention comes a lot of truth. I like to be an honest person. Mm-hmm. When I talk about excellence and I talk about all these people that inspire us, I realize that I am obsessive. I realize I'm a madman. I realize that it would be ridiculous to work next to me. I realize that because the things that I require are remnants of excellence and greatness and passion, desire, zeal, fervor. And as much fun as we have had on here, I don't think Keon and I want to take this to the same place.
Okay.
I think that I'm not the only one to have noticed that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm telling you, Earl Lonnie Hooks, am taking it to the moon. That's where I'm going.
What does that mean, though? I mean, do you, like, what is the progression here? I don't know. I mean, like...
do you mean, like, where the studio ends up?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, you have, you can have, like, your local artists who make it on... local artists. I mean, like little films, make it to Hollywood, or whatever, something, make it big on the big screen. Do you just want this to become a well-known podcast? You just want to get every guest that you can? Like, where in 3 years, where is this podcast?
I don't understand why, if I continue to learn and fall deeper and deeper into this mold, even if falling deeper into this mold is becoming less of a mold, if that means that I'm becoming more amorphous, lacking form, more open and free, right? However you want to conceptualize that, I don't understand that if I keep talking into this microphone the way that I do, I don't understand why I wouldn't become very well known in the podcasting field. I mean, aside from mechanics at work, right? Me not wanting to put the work in for, social media or, what I'm saying to you is I've seen the progression of this podcast, like you have been watching it, only on behind the scenes.
Right.
I'm seeing the numbers, I'm seeing the returns, I'm seeing the engagements. I'm feeling the connectivity that I like to feel from other people. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing substantial things said, and those types of things, like I just heard a podcast that you did where you had a meditation. I had no idea how much I needed that. Listening to your podcast, this is making me want to be a better person.
Yeah, that's a big one. I can speak that for myself. Yeah. I
have no intentions of stopping this. I have no intentions of stopping this. And so I'm taking this shit to the moon. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to reap the benefits of setting a plan in motion and sticking with something that you love to do for all the right reasons. And it just so happens that the better you try to be, like just as a human being, the better you try to be, the more people feel connected to you, the more they love you. It's not just, again, because I may be entertaining or funny sometimes. It's because I think people feel the truth. Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole plethora of reasons why I think some people love this pod. And, you and Keon are so great about giving everyone their flowers, but like, here are yours, because you guys, I mean, I know the one thing about, well, at least in my opinion, that's great about listening to this. It's just, you just feel like you're just sitting down talking with your friends, whether, I don't know Keon. I've never, as he said, I know him as MJ's brother.
Right.
But listening to him, I feel like he could walk in here and it could be just as comfortable as if, with how I know you. And you guys have done such a great job with things like that. And I love that you guys speak on so many different topics. You don't just weigh heavy on one particular thing. One of my favorite things is that you guys are obviously two completely different minded people. And so, Keon could say something like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. And you'll say something like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that, or vice versa, which is really great and helpful to help people kind of open their minds a little bit more and get different perspectives. And I think that you do make a lot of people, I think that you guys make a lot of people want to be a better person, whether it is as a whole or in one particular aspect. I think it's a great thing that you guys both talk on. And I hope that you guys both do continue to take this to the moon.
Yeah, that is a hard question to ask, because I definitely don't like to. I do have a hard time speaking about my plans for things and how big I want to take things and how I do look at the things that I do and what I emit, the energy that I emit. I do have a hard time talking about that, because as much as I make these narcissistic, egocentric, braggadocious jokes, I really don't want to come off that way. I see what I do. I see what I do.
Yeah. And I don't think you do come off that way. I think that you've done a really good job of portraying who you are, and that I don't think anyone's going to think that you're just this narcissistic person who, I'm out here, I'm just kind of the top tier conversationalist, and this is what I do, and I'm going to stunt on you niggas.
And I also don't, and it was hard for me because this is the first time I've relayed this information about the divergence of interest for Keon and I. I don't mean to shit on him at all. For anybody that's listening to this that really likes Keon, I like him too. I love the guy. The thing is, we just don't share the same passion for things, and that is completely okay.
That is okay.
And that's completely okay. But yeah, when you tell me where this is going to be years from now, and what I'm trying to do with, first of all, I don't know anyone that has love or sight for conversation like I do. So, I'm not expecting Keon to feel that way. He loves his DJing.
Yeah.
He's trying to get into the IT field. He's doing other things, and that's just completely okay. But when we talk about the future, I'm going to keep it a buck. I know where my head is at, and we're not there together.
Yeah.
But we'll love each other forever though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that's that.
Still love when he's on here. Keon, thank you for letting me take your seat for this episode. You guys started something really great, and I'm excited to see the growth with it.
Okay. Now you got to give some just a few last words. Now we both have to do that.
I guess my last words would be, I'm gonna put around self-care. Whether you think that you're being selfish, I personally think that it's okay to take a step back from that collective self-care. Obviously support the people who you love and your friends. But self-preservation is a huge thing, and you don't want to burn yourself out on something that you're overdoing too much because you are, the yes man. Do what you think that you need to do.
The yes man or the yes ma'am.
Exactly. There we go.
You love these little corny things. Jeez Louise.
I'm going to have to show you my list after, like, how long my net fun list is.
It's probably crazy.
But just, do what you need to do. And don't be afraid to make that change. I'm speaking that for myself as well, because I am a creature of habits. I like my comfort zone. But I keep telling myself that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So don't be afraid to step out, do what you need to do, and just grow, flourish, be the best person you can be.
I do this every once in a while on here. I'm just kind of feeling it now, but my last words are very simple, and it's that I love each and every one of you. And that is all.
I do have one more thing. Shout out to Stokes again. Well, I forgot to drop his handle. If you are on Insta, like most of you guys are, really seriously check out his comic. It is truly amazing. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. He's incredibly talented. His Instagram is either at DK Comics or at DK Comic Books.
I thought it was DK Comic Book.
I think it is DK Comic Book. Check him out. He's great. Love you, Stokes. But once again, fuck that nigga. I'm done. That was good. Drop the mic.
Episode 91. Woo! Woo!